If you run seminars, this episode could save you thousands. Today, I'm talking with two advisors who built $1 million practice through live events. Here's what makes it interesting. They could not be more different. We're going to talk about a $7,000 venue mistake. We're going to talk about using movie clips in presentations, serving pizza at Social Security workshops, and why they refuse to pitch products from the stage. If you want better ROI from seminars, pay attention. Let's jump in. So today, out of the Lone Star State, we have
Amarillo, Texas.
Amarillo, Texas. We've got Brian and 𝒚𝒐𝒖'𝒓𝒆. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great to have you.
We're excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you on here. There is you guys are honest to God, just like we were talking before. Salt and pepper, ebony and ivory. Like there is such a story behind how you two got together.
Well, let me tell you that story. It's real quick.
I want to hear. So folks, if you're on a format where you're listening, Brian and 𝒚𝒐𝒖'𝒓𝒆 look like I wasn't even kidding. They look like an awesome buddy cop movie where you guys could be like, I was saying before, like Brian, you look like the Maverick, kind of a Chuck Norris-y Lone Wolf McQuade, which is an amazing TV show when you're like 15.
Because of the cowboy hat.
The cowboy hat, yes. I hope that you own like a Dodge Ram Charger, like
F-250.
That'll do. So you look like the renegade cop who doesn't go by the book. And then 𝒚𝒐𝒖'𝒓𝒆, you look like you've got the background in forensics and, the guy who's following everything by the book and procedural and like has a background in law, CSI type of guy. So you two look like an amazing combination.
Of course, you got it wrong. It's the other way around. I'm the chief compliance officer.
Yeah.
And he's the one I'm telling no to all the time.
I like it. How'd you get together?
Okay. His father is a doctor at Texas Tech Children's Hospital. Sorry.
Yeah, at the Texas Tech NICU.
Okay.
And NICU.
Yeah. So he when a baby is going to the emergency room, that's who he's going to see. So he calls me up. He has not a small account with me, and he says, "My son is very interested in being in your business. Would you intern him?" So my first thought is, one, I don't want to intern some stupid little college millennial in my office, listen to some crap that he's going to tell me his professor said about how this works.
The academic side.
And have that, those attitudes that I connect with the millennial group. And so I thought, Dr. 𝒚𝒐𝒖'𝒓𝒆, the truth is, I would love to intern your son.
Yes, sir.
Because when it comes to the end of the day, it's a client, right?
That's right.
However, he wasn't what's the term? He came to my office. He dressed in a suit and tie, and he was super serious about learning what he could. And so I interned him for a couple years. I offered him a job when he graduated Texas Tech. And he said, "I want to be a partner." And I laughed and laughed and laughed. And I said, "How much money do you have?" And he came up with the enormous amount of money I asked to be a partner. And so
you bought it. I like it.
I was surprised he had a good credit record and money to invest in a partnership. So straight out of college, we formed a partnership, and he became my technology and financial planning research person, and then I do the marketing, the compliance, and things like that. And so we work together that way. And we found in the beginning that it was a little difficult for him to bring new clients on, and I think it was his age. I think they were having trouble getting on board. So we just worked together on everything. Now he's older. He's much better at the sales process, and so I don't think because we're going to open an office in Dallas, and he's going to lead it up. So I don't think he'll have much problem doing that. But it's been a process. I guess we're at the 8th year that we've been working together, and we took our firm from making a couple $100,000 to we just had our first $1 million year.
Hey, congratulations.
Thank you.
So 𝒚𝒐𝒖'𝒓𝒆, do you, as it goes now, how are you marketing the events Facebook? Are you guys doing direct mail? You doing a combo? What are you guys doing to get people there?
Yeah, so it's a company called LeadJig or 𝒚𝒖'𝒓𝒆, and so they have a combination where it is mailers, it's Facebook, and then it's through the phone.
Don't forget the email blast.
Yeah, so it's a combination of
Yeah, they call it a three-touch.
four things, yeah.
Nice. Okay, so you're at the University of Texas Amarillo then?
No.
West Texas A&M.
West
Yeah.
Texas. Okay.
University of Texas is further south, and there's a rivalry, so don't.
Well, I went to the University of Kansas, so that's SEC, so nobody cares anymore. Okay, they're gone. No one. That was a big mistake on their part. They should have stayed, but it is what it is. It is what it is. So when you do the, which one do you want to dive into? Should we talk the dinner seminars, or you guys want to talk about that?
Well, let's talk about the Social Security first.
Okay.
And, there's a three-step process I talk about when you're planning and executing your seminar. Step one is you need to figure out your venue. And so the venue, we use the university, but we have used venues like libraries. Now, we did a seminar in another town. It's south of us. It's called Lubbock. And we picked the very biggest library in town and held our seminar there. We got a total of 4 people that showed up. And what we realized was there was so much homelessness around the library that people were afraid to come. And we didn't appreciate that. And had we gone to the location and really scoped it out on the ground, we would have figured that out. And so the reason we blew out is because we had a bad venue. And if you do any research on seminars, you're always hearing that libraries are great places to do a seminar. And not always. We did another library, and the room was downstairs, and there was no elevator.
Little trouble.
Well, we saw a lot of people leave. They didn't even bother. They just.
I have to tell you, I hadn't even thought of that hadn't even crossed my mind. The homeless. You really would have to, because I am a huge fan of the library system. This is a weird aside, but if my oldest daughter is listening, stop buying me books for Christmas, because that's what the library's for. Like, why buy a book? Because it's such an awesome deal. But I guess now that I think about it, if I were to go to the different branches in Kansas City, there are branches that would definitely have people going in to hang out that are homeless versus the library that's not far from where we're sitting. You wouldn't run into anyone like that. That's a really good point.
And then see, people know this, and then they don't feel safe. And so it hurt our participation. Matter of fact, the one guy that showed up, when we talked to him, he said that's why his wife didn't come with him. And so, you have to look at your venue. So remember, in our case, we're looking for 55 to 65-year-old. By the way, Social Security is an awesome seminar, because when you think about retirement and you're thinking about pulling that trigger, the first thing you think about is not your IRA, is not your pension. You start thinking about Social Security. And so, if you hold an educational seminar on that, you're going to find people that are in the time window. There was a book called The Millionaire Next Door, and he talked about windows of opportunity. Well, that is a massive window of opportunity when somebody starts thinking about Social Security. So they come to our Social Security seminar. You got to remember, they're going to be over 50, maybe 55. So you want them to be able to walk from the parking lot straight in on a level ground. If you do have a downstairs or an upstairs that they can go there in an elevator, that all that is easy, accessible. We prefer them to just walk right in and walk into the classroom. And so and you also want to make sure that the parking lot is lit up, that it's a perceived safe area. So now if you're picking a restaurant, you want talk to your FMO. So if you're looking at a restaurant, the Mexican restaurants, country clubs are bad venues that people don't love those. Steak restaurants is where you want to look at.
Yeah.
And so you want to make sure that it's a nice steak restaurant. Again, you want to make sure that the area is safe, that it's well lit, that it's perceived to be a good place. You don't want to have your greasy spoon steak restaurant, because it's just you're putting your best foot forward here. So look at that venue, hammer that down. Now, so once you figured out your venue, then you call your marketing company, and then you want to make sure that the mailers that go out, and we believe in the 3-touch, like Sabani said, a mail, a Facebook, and email blast. And what happens is the same people are being contacted through these 3 mediums.
Absolutely.
Now, those people also have been pre-qualified to have assets on, that are possibly in play. Some people want to have a full room. They want 40 people in the room. But if it's 30 people that have no money or absolutely no reason to use your services, that's really no good for you. All it's going to do is cause you to do a lot of work, a lot of appointments that are going to turn out to be wasting your time. So we typically, unfortunately, Amarillo is, even though it's 250,000 people, it's still a small market. So we're seeing about 10 to 20 people at our seminars. But because they're all pre-qualified, they all have money. And so we have gotten 3 to 5 times ROI out of our seminars, because all we need to do is close on 2 or 3 to do extremely well.
At a market that size, how many different venues are you guys using? I'll throw this to Sabani.
Yeah, really, for the universities, it depends. Like for Canyon, we like to use West Texas A&M there, but then there's also a downtown campus in Amarillo that we like to use. So those are for the universities, but for the restaurants, there's really only a handful of those. 𝒓𝒆 Steakhouse, Macaroni Joe's now also doing. But yeah, you have to be very careful about what venue you're using. And an example would be, we were thinking about Saltgrass Steakhouse before, but when you look at their venue, they didn't have any curtains or shades that would be able to block out sunlight that's coming in for your presentation. So those aren't things necessarily that you think about until you're actually there.
I think the number one takeaway so far from what we've talked about is you need to do a site visit.
Oh, yeah.
You're crazy
For
if
sure.
you don't. The library thing, I hadn't thought about that before.
You want to do a site visit at the time you're planning to hold the seminar.
Yeah, the sunlight, that's a great one.
Yeah, because we didn't realize that sun was going to blare through those windows, and you can't even see our PowerPoints because they're being washed out by, the beaming sun.
So do you guys, when you do a dinner event, rounds or classroom style?
Depends on the venue, I think.
Yeah, but what do you guys prefer?
We've done it both ways. I don't know which is better. The thing that you do want to make sure, though, if you're doing rounds, is that everybody, so half the table needs to not be used. You don't. You want everybody facing towards you, because once they start eating, they'll turn their back on you, and then that's no good. So you want. If they only offer round tables, you could still do it.
Sure.
But just make sure the room's big enough for the crowd that you're anticipating.
To get around.
And then because you're only going to use half the table, because you want everybody facing your way.
Do you guys? And then I'm gonna step back, but first I want to ask you this: do you do when people come in? Are you seating them with any particular intent?
Well, first off, our staff is awesome. Mandy and Alexis, they meet the people at the door. They sign them in. They make sure that they're on the list, and then they tell them to go to the table. Now, what they've done already is all the tables have a folder that has a couple of our newsletters, a feedback form, and a list of financial planning things that you need to do. And so we don't believe in brochures. We don't have anything like that. And then we also give them a little notebook that is branded, has our logo on it, and so they can take notes. And then, of course, they get a pen. And so they put that in front of each. So they pick a spot, where a folder and a notebook is, and then they sit down. And then if it's at the university, they'll also have a bottle of water at each. Now, if it's at a restaurant, obviously they're going to serve them drinks, when the waitress comes out. But at the university, we make sure that everybody gets a bottle of water at their spot.
So, crazy question for you. So I had another advisor on the podcast, and we were talking about how he does his seminars. And one of the things he said, no one has ever said this before, so I'm curious what your take is, what you think about this. And you won't hurt anybody's feelings. He has his staff seat people. He has kind of a seating chart already arranged so that if Mr. and Mrs. Johnson show up, they're at table 1. If the Smiths come in, they're at table 2. And then if the Joneses come in, they go to table 1 to sit with. He's looked at the demographics of people coming in, and he's seating them accordingly. So he's trying to put high net worth with high net worth. What do you guys think of that?
That's something I have to think about. I know that I don't like being told where to go. But I don't know if I'm necessarily against that.
He said, so his rationale, I'm like, that's very interesting. Why do you do that? And the more I thought about it, I've just pondered this since he's been on. And his idea is that he wants to get them up to the front so that's who he's interacting. Do you guys name tags?
No, we don't, but that's not a bad idea.
So he has his staff do a handwritten name tag, and then what he wants to do is the people that he knows have already identified as high net worth individuals, he wants that interaction with them. And then his thinking is that, if you're high net worth and you're there with your wife, and you're high net worth and you're there with your wife, you guys are talking and you're like, oh, well, this is my cut of, if this is who Toro Bravo works with, this is, I'm at home because this guy, we have these similarities. I saw him at the country club,
Now we do invite.
It's interesting. I hadn't heard anybody say that before.
Well, we do invite our clients to our seminars. And I'm going to tell you, I think that's actually a good idea because if we know we have a high net worth person, I think I would want them next to one of our clients because they tend to be advocates for us.
Absolutely.
And so I think we might start looking at that.
It's interesting. I hadn't heard that one before, and it was. I thought, gosh, that's interesting. But you'd have to really know who's coming and make sure you know who's coming.
Well, if you're using a company like 𝒕𝐠:G through 𝒅𝒐𝒊𝒏𝒈, it tells you what they perceive the net worth of your participants. So it's not always spot on, but if it says they're worth several $1 million, that kind of clues you in before they even get there. So that's really not a bad idea. I think that's something we might start looking at. I like the name tag too because as I'm talking to people from the front, seeing their name on there.
He says, he says, and I've talked to some other folks that they'll have the staff. Of course, you have to have somebody that has good penman or penwomanship.
Right.
But write them out as they come in and check them in. So when your gals are checking them in, when your staff is checking them in there, I was kind of almost dismissive.
Well, it's gals. It's okay.
But when they're checking them in, is the room set up to where they're inside at the back of the room, or are they sitting outside the room?
It depends on the venue, but we definitely don't want them getting past them until they've signed in. And now at the university, it's outside the room. At the restaurants, it's inside the room. And so at the and one other thing that we do is we bought banners with our name, and we set that up. Again, you don't have to go overboard, and it's only a couple $100 for these banners, but they give a very professional introduction to your firm. And so, and then of course I wrote a book, and I have
That's fantastic. Can I see that?
Yeah, I have copies of that book on the table. Now, we don't give that book out. If you come to an appointment after, you can get a copy of the book.
This, for anybody that's not seeing this, so I've seen like a few books through the years, and this is like a legit textbook. Like this isn't the normal goof around book. No offense to anyone who's done a book. Maybe we need to edit that out.
Well, it's 300 pages. And I got pictures in it.
Citations, the whole kit and caboodle.
Oh, yeah. I sourced all the information. Yep.
Okay, question for you. So, Sabani, when you guys, it's day of, people have come in, the team has checked them in, they've sat down. Where are you two at? Are you guys standing at the front of the room? Because there's two of you, which is adds an interesting dynamic to any presentation. Are you guys hanging out at the front? Are you like back in the green room, like the featured speaker coming out? What do you guys like to do?
Mingle. That is actually the most important thing to do
Nice.
before the event. Where you want to strike up and have a good conversation, make some good rapport with the prospects there. So yeah, not at the front or the back, just making good conversation.
Right in the middle. So Brian, then when it's time to go, when it's start time, are you both up at the front of the room then?
Traditionally, we've tried it both ways. We've had Ță'ăveni introduce me, but
I
lately
might speak more.
we just go. I just go. I'm the one presenting. Now, when we do our wealth transfer seminar, he has a really good story about his grandfather that his wealth was stolen by the employees of the company in India. And so he gets up and tells this very heartfelt story about why estate planning, if his grandfather had done it, would have protected that wealth for the family. And so I have him tell that story, and then I tell my own story about my father when he died and what happened to my family that tore us apart. So that we tell our personal stories. But then we've tried both of us presenting, but we found that it worked much better if just one person really presents.
It's hard. It's hard to have two people up at the front because there's that choreography back and forth of even down to like, is the other person standing in the corner or sitting? Like all of those things can make it awkward. So, question for you. So, seminars going on. You're presenting. Do you have Ță'ăveni and the rest of the staff? Are you guys watching and taking notes from the back of like at restaurants they have all the tables numbered. So table A4, the guy in the green jacket is engaged, and he are you taking those kind of notes?
Absolutely.
Well, I don't know if we're taking notes, but we're paying attention for sure. And then if somebody does leave early, which we don't have many that do, but if they do leave early, we make sure that we get their feedback form or ask them to fill it out, so that we can contact them.
Give them their check if they left early.
Usually, now my seminars does go 2 hours.
Okay. Wow.
Now my dinner seminars go about.
That's presentation time, 2 hours?
Yeah.
Okay.
So my dinner goes about an hour to an hour and a half at the most, but my Social Security goes 2 hours. But the presentation, there's videos. We have clips from like The Incredibles where he's being yelled at for breaking through the bureaucracy. And the point is I'm helping you break through the bureaucracy of Social Security. We have video. We theme our presentation. So my Social Security is Social Security questions you have, answers you need, how the lessons of Apollo 13 can help your retirement. And then I use the theme of Apollo 13 as an illustrative device to talk about retirement planning. And so I'm showing videos from Apollo 13 in our presentation, and I'm showing some other videos too. And so they're just a couple minutes. It's not long, but I think it breaks it up and gives people's brain a rest from just information. And then I'm doing a little bit of stand-up. I'm telling jokes, and I had a wholesaler that came to one of my Social Security events. She said, "I've never laughed about Social Security so much in my life," and so so we don't have anyone that leaves early usually. It's very rare when somebody does leave. Now, one other thing in the pre-planning before the seminar starts, and this is something different. Hopefully, you never heard of this one before, is we serve pizza.
So I have not heard that. So you're like you're pre-feeding them?
Yeah, so it's an educational event, right?
Yeah.
We order some Domino's. We'll have, depending on how many people we know is coming, we'll have 3 to 5 pizzas.
Wait, this is at the educational one?
At the educational
Okay, I for a second I thought like you were bringing pizza into a steak restaurant.
Bad. I'm pretty sure the steakhouse wouldn't appreciate that. No, at the educational.
Gotcha.
We don't even advertise that there's going to be pizza there. But here's what I discovered. If my audience isn't hangry, because you got to remember, we're doing it at 6 o'clock.
Yep.
They're going to be there for 2 hours. by the end, they might be pretty hungry. So we have the pizza there, we have some breadsticks, and then the people get a slice. And I notice it changes the whole mood of the room. It costs us maybe $50, maybe $80 if it's a large crowd, and it's But yeah, we started doing that.
How do you play that? Do you play it as like, by the way, folks, there's pizza that'll be here in a minute, or do you play it?
The pizza's already there when they get there.
Okay. I thought maybe you did it as like a I'm kind of hungry. Hey, Țăbani, you want to let's get some pizza for everybody. Anybody up for some slices?
That would be funny, but I think that'd be hard to pull off.
But they would all wonder. You would say that, everyone would say yes, and like, oh, it just so happens we have pizza like right here, right now.
Well, here's a funny story. One of the folks that we had come to our seminar, he made an appointment after, and we ended up opening an account for him for $500,000.
Nice.
As he's sitting there, he looks at his wife. He said, "We went to 3 steak dinners, and we're going with the guy that gave us pizza."
It's the message. Damn good pizza. That's funny. That is really funny.
So anyway. So we've done all that prep, and of course my staff is making sure they've ordered the pizza, that they've got the water there, all the tables are all lined up and organized. They'll be doing name tags in the future, it looks like. And so then when I give the presentation, here's the thing. First off, I try not to be arrogant. I have seen so many advisors, they want to get up there, I'm the master of all knowledge, and I am very wealthy and influential.
Yeah.
And what you've done is basically told the audience, you suck, I don't. And so I try to be myself. I tell jokes. I tell stories. Stories are very powerful when you have something. I had this client. Like I actually start my Social Security seminar off with the fact I helped a client recapture $18,000 from Social Security. And so I have a video from a podcast that I did with the Registered Social Security Analysts Association, and so I show that, and then throughout I talk about stories of people that were dealing with Social Security, So use little not long, but little stories throughout. I like videos, again, that gives people's brain a rest. Like we show a video of the first, when the Apollo 13 oxygen tank blew up from the movie. And so it's about 1.5 minutes, I think, maybe 2 minutes.
How is the movie? So you're really tied to the movie. Like, how did you connect with the movie?
Well, the reason I use that as an illustrative device is that mission, they should have all died.
Right.
Really, they're in space, it blows up.
Yep.
That's a done deal. But they figured out how to get them down alive. And those guys all died old. Well, some of them are still alive.
Yeah. Great metaphor. Yeah.
Right. And so what I talk about is on your retirement, one, you don't want to make mistakes that cause an oxygen tank to explode in your retirement.
Yep.
But if one does, how do we figure this out? Well, we do analysis, and we have research, software that we can run that help you figure out, and that's what they did with Apollo 13.
Yep.
And so we do the same thing to protect and save your retirement. Hopefully we don't have to have an oxygen tank explosion, that you have a safe. But remember, once you've launched, it's over. You've launched. It's hard to go back.
Good analogy.
Apparently, if you're Elon Musk, you can bring it back.
You can bring it back and connect. I haven't heard of anybody that has done video at seminars before, so that one is interesting. Let me ask you this. So we get towards the end of the event, and now it's time to look for that ROI. So what's your process for booking appointments?
Okay.
Whether it's at the college, I imagine it's different between the two, but tell us a little bit about that.
Well, first off, throughout the seminar, and he's helped me in the past because he'll give me, Țăbani here will give me say, hey, you didn't say enough about the feedback form. We have a feedback form in their folder, and I refer to it at least 3, if not 4 times. Talk about filling out the feedback form. On the feedback form is my 2-week calendar. It's like you check off 2 dates. The staff is going to get in touch with you on which date will work, and then we'll meet for the discovery meeting to talk about your retirement and get you your complimentary Social Security report and your retirement risk report. So those are the two offers.
So you make the offer out loud. You remind everybody. Do you have the staff getting them signed up?
Oh yeah, they're on
working
top of everybody, and sometimes even 𝒚𝒐𝒖'𝒓𝒆 might be on top of them, making sure that we got that form filled out after it's over. But I try to remember when I'm giving, because again, I'm thinking about my material, right? And I want to talk about Social Security and retirement risk and taxes, because those are the three topics in our Social Security. But I have to remember that if they don't fill out the form and make an appointment, it's worthless. If they come up to me and say, wow, that was really good, you're very smart, and don't make an appointment, I mean, all they did was stroke my ego. Nothing happened. I need them to come into the office.
Yep.
You know, that's where we have the opportunity to turn some profit on this thing. The second thing, and I've had several people comment on this, I do not talk about annuities. I do not talk about investments, and specifically, I might talk about the market and the risk and the volatility, but there's not any pitching of investments. I've had people come up to me, say, I expected life insurance or annuities to be pitched to me, and you didn't even talk about those. I'll make an appointment. And we had one client, she ended up with her family, they did about, I think, $600,000 total. And she told me the reason that she came into my office is because I didn't pitch she thought for sure I was going to pitch an annuity, that I was going to talk about some annuity that would make her 7% or something. And so I believe very strongly that if you've got any product in your presentation, get it out.
Yep.
If it's a dinner, get it out. Now, our wealth transfer, we talk about life insurance and annuities and our wealth transfer because it's
Yep.
But here's how I frame it. I said, why do people not like to talk about life insurance and annuities? Well, here's why. And I have a clip from Groundhog Day where the insurance agent chases him down.
Ned Ryerson.
And then everyone starts laughing, that he's
life
insurance. And I said, it's because of that guy that no one wants to talk about life insurance. Now,
right.
Folks, I'm not trying to sell you life insurance or annuities, but they do work in a retirement plan. So we'll talk about it in general, but this is not a pitch for you to buy any of these products. Then I go into what I plan to say. And again, I stay true to my word. I'm not pitching them. I'm just explaining the benefits for transferring wealth, protecting it from creditors and predators, and things like that. And then what you've done, because you've warned them that this is coming and that it's not a pitch, now you're free to talk about it. And so that's what I think is very important, to make sure your seminar is not a pitch for products, because that's not the time to do it.
There was a guy on here a long time ago on the podcast that threw a phrase out that I loved, and he called it sales breath. Like prospects can smell it on your breath. If you're desperate or like the month, you can, you sure as heck don't want that. So
or annuity breath.
Or annuity breath.
Yes.
So event ends. You say good night, God bless. They leave. Do you all get together and have a huddle and walk through like what worked, what didn't, what you saw, what you didn't, things like that?
Yes, and my office manager, she's a short little Mexican girl, and she is brutal. She will let me know what I did wrong, the embarrassing things I said, and the things that she doesn't want me to say again.
That's good. You got to have the feedback, otherwise you never improve.
Well, she's so awesome to our business. She has worked with us a long time. I've worked with her probably now a good 8-9 years. But then 𝒚𝒐𝒖'𝒓𝒆, he's always got something for me. He'll say, well, Brian, maybe you shouldn't have said this, or you forgot, or he's counting how many times I brought up the feedback form. And
a lot. The answer should be a lot. Plus one, whatever the number is.
We're trying to for at least 4 times. I've actually put the feedback form in the PowerPoint slides, to make sure that I do it. Because again, it's not about, even though I'm so happy to tell people about this wonderful information I got, that's not what it's about. I need them to make an appointment.
That's right.
And so if I forget that, and I've had it happen before where I didn't talk about the feedback form, and then he stood up at the very end and said to the audience, "Hey guys, don't forget about your feedback form," because I totally forgot and I didn't bring it up, and then I'm trying to catch up, and we didn't get the responses that we probably should have. So these guys really hold me accountable in what I do.
I like that you have the calendar on the back, and I know that I've worked with some other advisors that when they've done webinars and they put it out there, their calendar. There's been some folks that are like, I don't know if they're just bashful, like I don't know. You should be asking for it, and some of them will just say, when they're in their seminar, they'll say, you know what, this is like the number 2 question we get from clients. So I know you probably have questions. My calendar's on the back of the sheet. They would do it that way as one to throw in there.
Well, one thing that I also do is when people ask questions, I determine, is the question something that it's out there, I got to answer it because everyone's now wondering about it, or if it's something that I can boot to the meeting. And I might say to them, that's a very good question. I'll have a very personal answer for you that we can discuss in my office. So make sure to fill out, and then I'll cover that with you and give you a very personal information on that. And so I will. Sometimes you got to answer the question though, because it's out of the bag. They got to know, or something uncomfortable that, if you boot it, it sounds like you're just avoiding, So don't make that a hard and fast rule. But if I can, I will tell them I'll answer it if you come to my office.
Yeah, because you can rabbit hole, and then the next thing you know, a question followed by a question on something so specific it only affects 𝒚𝒐𝒖'𝒓𝒆, and he keeps asking questions, but you're rabbit holing us down. So that is good advice.
Now, the other thing is people ask me for this book. And I also have another book that I show at the meeting, which is it's a book about Social Security. And I say, I'll give you a copy if you make an appointment.
Fair trade.
And so I give very little. Besides that pizza, I give very little away at the seminar. If you want something, you got to come to my office. And so, again, I'm very keyed into the fact that this seminar is not going to give me any return on investment if they don't come to my office and we get a chance to visit about their financial situation. And so now we get about 50% that go ahead and sign up, make appointments at the seminar. Now, here's the post part of this. So we've talked to everybody. We got their feedback forms before they left. Okay, we wrap up. We go home. Now we have a lady that calls everybody that didn't make an appointment, including the ones that did,
right.
And start, would you like to take the opportunity to get your complimentary Social Security analysis report and your retirement risk report? And then we also try to get the information about their IRAs, their finances. Now, I will say that part is about 50-50. 50% of the people will give us the information before the appointment. The other 50 will not. And the other 50 don't really trust you yet. It's more like, I want to see what this is all about. But by the time we're done with that discovery meeting, they're either giving it to us or we're never going to see them again, which it happens. So, but then once we have all this information, that's when Țățăbani jumps in and starts putting together the research analysis. I usually do the Social Security report, but he just got his registered Social Security analyst designation.
Nice, congratulations.
Thank you.
And I'm also a registered Social Security analyst. He's also an RICP, and so I have him do the retirement planning reports. Not that I can't, but we just divide up the work between us.
Sure.
And then when they come in for the second meeting, we present the reports, and now we're trying to see what assets that we can potentially transfer over and be hired by them. And so we have a very distinct process, but it's important when you do the seminar, if you don't want to get a blowout where you don't make any money and you don't get any people to talk to, you got to make sure that you follow the process and know what your process is, and make sure your staff understands what you're trying to accomplish. Like if I forget to really cover the feedback form, my staff is running around and reminding everyone to fill out their form.
Get the forms. That is important. So we have to land this plane because I know that I've got a time crunch to get you guys into a next meeting here. So tell me this: what are you excited about? And we're going to have you guys back on because I have multiple topics to talk with you guys. You had mentioned early, so here's what I'm going to ask you. And I want you to think about this for a second. I've got a specific question for you. So here's what I'd like you to think about. 2 pieces, 2 do's, and 1 don't to somebody who's never done seminars. Ponder that. And for you, 𝒚𝒐𝒖'S, I want you to think about, what are you excited about as far as, it sounds like we're going to be branching into Dallas, into the Metroplex, doing seminars. What are you excited about? What makes you nervous? Go.
First off, you must spend the money. These seminars are going to cost you. If you do Facebook, it's $2,000. If you do mail marketing, it's going to be $7,000 to $8,000.
Okay.
You must spend the money.
Spend the money. That's 1.
You said 2 do's.
Yeah, give me another do. What do you got?
The next do is make sure that you've planned everything, that you don't miss opportunities with people. That those feedback forms are so crucial.
Yep.
And of course, I'm going to give a third do, is don't have annuity breath in your presentation.
I like it. So,
and then the don't.
Spend the money, prepare, and don't have the sales breath.
Right.
All right, give me a don't.
And then the last one is turn to your FMO and get a good marketing company. Make sure, we like Acquire Up with LeadJig.
Yep, good outfit.
If I've had bad marketing companies, they filled my room with people who had no money. Just because you got 40 people in a room doesn't mean you have a successful seminar.
That's right.
And so, especially dinners, there's a lot of plate lickers out there. And so you want to make sure that you have a marketing company that pre-qualifies, people that, will be a good potential client for you. So
I like it.
you got to make sure because it is a big investment.
Yeah.
I know a $7,000, $8,000 spend is a big investment, but if you don't want to have a blowout seminar, make sure that you got a good marketing company.
So I'm going to come back to you. I want you to ponder this while I ask 𝒚𝒐𝒖'S about the Metroplex. Something that you learned the hard way. Think about that. So something that you're excited about heading to the Metroplex, something that's maybe having you look up at the ceiling at night as you're pondering.
Yeah, in terms of being excited, in a place like Frisco and Dallas, just great demographics of all types of people.
Nice.
And I know it's going to sound contrived, but just being able to help more people in a bigger market.
I like it.
That's what I'm most excited about. Fun fact that's not so fun. 62% of Americans are more afraid of running out of money than dying. So if we can just help solve that for a lot more people, that's what we're very focused on at Toro Bravo. And then in terms of being not nervous about anything. I think nervousness comes from lack of preparation a lot of time, and
I like that.
I'm prepared.
I like what you're saying.
With Brian.
All right, Brian, you
friend and business partner. So what do I have to be nervous about? We are confident at Toro Bravo.
I like it. All right, so what? So this is the final thought for the show. Hit it.
Make sure that you've done your prep right. Like the story I told about the library, where we got the 4 people that showed up. Had we done our proper site review, we'd have realized there's no way this place is where we should have a seminar. So, and that was $7,000 down the drain for us.
Yeah.
Because we had 4 people, at the two dates. Across 2 dates.
Oof, yeah, that's painful.
And so, but, again, the mistake we made was we didn't do the right venue. And so, your preparation, go through your preparation, make sure that you've done it and you've thought it all out and that you have the right venue. And I got to tell you, if you're dealing with an FMO, they should be giving you advice on these things. So lean on them.
Absolutely.
Ask them, I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to spend all this money. What do you think I'm doing right or wrong? And they'll tell you.
Yeah.
The FMO that we had, we were doing it at the country club. And we were getting about 5-6 people an event. And they said, stop doing it at the country club. We moved it to the university. Suddenly we're getting 15-20.
Nice.
Because people are intimidated to go to the country club. So, it's funny. They know these things. You need
lean
to
on them.
Lean on them.
Absolutely.
They'll and if they don't have anything for you, then look for an FMO that does.
That's right.
Those are the best venues we think we've generally found of the university campuses, just because I think it helps add a lot of credibility.
Yeah, I think
people
so,
already
too.
feel a lot more safety. Big thing then to look at is parking, to make sure people
Parking is a big
can
deal.
get there.
That is a big deal. All right, gentlemen, I thank you for being on the episode. And next time you're through this way, I got more things I need to talk to you guys about. I got things here. I got things.
This guy here that's sitting next to me, he's extremely smart. Matter of fact, he doesn't see you. He sees zeros and ones.
Oh, nice. What does the matrix look
Entirely flattered.
Nice. That's funny.
He's actually the smart guy. That's why he's funny. He's the
That's
funny.
funny.
Yeah.
All right, fellas. Well, here's what we're going to do. So for everybody out there, thanks for joining us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow the show. That way you are notified when we drop a new episode. Also, if you get a chance, if there's any topic that you want me to dive into, I've got access to the best advisors in the industry to have these conversations with. If you have any suggestions, any criticism, constructive or otherwise, I love to read it. Drop it in there. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.